seen them. It was like total domination when you get to looking at this game. With Matt Rule, Deion Sanders versus Matt Rule, Colorado versus Nebraska, Shedeur versus Dylan Raiola. It was total domination. We talked about it all week long. We talked about it on the panels. Everybody's talking about this game, and I want to share some good stats with y'all that y'all probably have not seen yet. I want to show some different stats on the screen. You might have to zoom in on your screen, pause it, play it, whatever you would need to do to make sure that you're seeing this the way that I am. Because this is all the statistics, win probability, expected points, so forth and so on throughout the game. Okay, this is a chart, and let's just keep it a buck. This is all red. I've looked at millions. I looked at a whole bunch of these graphs throughout this, and Nebraska's play number from 0 to 168 plays, their win probability was way up there, y'all. I think it was at like the lowest point of win probability for Nebraska in this game was an 88% chance of them winning the game. And that was with what, 3 or 4 plays in the game. Once you got your average 20, let's say they got 24 points into the game, their win probability jumped up to about 94%. They had a 94% chance in winning this game. And I know statistics, a lot of people like to say the statistics is wrong, but we're going to keep looking through this graph because, look, they dominated this game from beginning to end. A lot of people say that the Colorado's defense played a lot better in the second half. Well, I'm going to tell you what, I think, I don't know this to be true, but the conversation to what I'm thinking that was in the Nebraska locker room from Matt Rule's point of view was more like, we have the lead right now, 28-3. We have to go out there. And he even said it in his post-game presser. We had to play with the lead like in hand. So they got to just hold on to the lead. They don't have to go out there, show more plays with this offense. They weren't forced to open up in any more plays or have to put Dylan Raiola in any uncomfortable situations with a rookie quarterback. Let's just say it what it is. You don't got to put your rookie quarterback in any unnecessary situations out on the field. All you have to do is just run the clock. And it's similar to, and we always have to look back at something that people can relate to when we get to talking about Colorado, right? Something that you can relate to and think about, right? Or college football. It's like Colorado up on Stanford 29-0. All they had to do was run the ball. They didn't have to continue to put their foot on the gas pedal and just keep pressing. Even though some people, including myself, said, why didn't Matt Rule let up? Well, he was playing with a huge league. There's no point at that and to do that. We got a half an hour. We got 30 more minutes to play football. Let's run the ball, you know what I'm saying, against them. Block, and they were just stuffing the box up with guys. I think at some point it looked like Colorado had like 9 players in the box to stop the run. And like I was saying before, that's a problem when you got to put 9 players in a box to stop the run. You got to do what you got to do. But if they were stopping it, they were stopping it. And at times they were overwhelming the defense. But like I said, at that point for Nebraska, their only thing was the clock. It was them against the clock. There was no more Nebraska versus Colorado in Nebraska's eyes from a coaching standpoint. And we have to understand that when we're looking at the game of football, that's just what it was. So some people are out there and they're going to say, well, Colorado defense played better. And you can look at it that way. But I mean, the football way to look at this is they were playing with a league and they had that. So when you get to looking at explosiveness from the game, total plays, Colorado has 75, Nebraska has 77. Scrimmage plays, 61 for Colorado, 66 for Nebraska. Explosive plays was 4 for Colorado. That was at 7% a game. 4 for Nebraska to 6%. So, and this is what we're saying. When passing the ball, 3, 7%, 2, 7% for Nebraska. It was 3 for Colorado at 7%. It was 2 for Nebraska at 7% when passing the ball. EPA was at 2.4. So when you're saying that, Dylan Raiola was right up there, according to stats with Shedeur. And and look, I don't want to sit here and try to make the argument of saying he's better than Shedeur because I'm not saying that, but I'm saying in this game, he was able to do what he did. But Shedeur, he didn't have to put up with a harassing defensive line the way that Shedeur did, right? Okay. So then you get to looking at when rushing explosive plays, Colorado had one for 7%, Nebraska had two at 6%, right? Then you get to looking at their EPAs, so forth and so on, by play and passing and everything else is right here. You can break that down. That's not sure on that and what they mean by that, because there's like no graph that really says that, right? You know what I'm saying? But they dominated this game from and I'm gonna get to showing y'all that here in a second. The drives for Colorado, they had a total of 13 drives, and their starting field position was their own 22. Nebraska won that starting field position because they were starting at their own 38. They were a lot closer. Plays of drive, five. Colorado almost had 6 plays of drive. Nebraska had 7 plays of drive. Yards per drive, Colorado was right around 27 yards of drive, and Nebraska was right around 38. 37 yards. Available yards percentage, Colorado was at 34%. That's not good. It's just not. If you know what I mean. Available yards percentage, it just wasn't there for them to get that with all the sacks and the missed passes, the dropping back and everything. That goes against that. 60 percentile for Nebraska. That is total domination. If y'all don't know, I'm just trying to let y'all know this. Like, that's a big number for available yards percentage. You know what I mean? That's huge. And they were killing themselves in penalties. That goes to show you that they were killing themselves in the penalties, man. They were. So, and this is the defense, right? So you get looking at the defense. Like, I just like to talk numbers sometimes and stats, because I can say things and they come out a certain way. It's because I explain things a lot differently than what some people, because I'm still out here learning, this whole YouTube type of deal. But when you get to looking at these numbers, I guess it starts to add up and make a little bit more sense to people. And if you don't, then I'll try to explain it as it goes. So when you look at the scrimmage plays, the stop rate 55% for Colorado defense, 59% for Nebraska. Havoc plays created, Colorado had 8 for 12%. Nebraska had 8 at 13%. Passing wise, Havoc plays created, Colorado had 6 at 20%. Nebraska had 8, which was 17% at our offense. Rushing wise, defense, rushing, Havoc plays created, Colorado had 2 for 6%. Nebraska had none. Tackles for loss generated, 8 for Colorado, 7 for Nebraska. Passing, 6 for Colorado, 7 for Nebraska. Rushing, 2 for Colorado, 0 for Nebraska. All right. That's what they're saying, right? So sacks generated, 6, 0. Colorado had none. They didn't have no turnovers, no anything. Nebraska had 6. 6. That's a lot of sacks in one game. We already knew that, right? And some things that people don't pay attention to is the situational football part of things. So the success rate and the success plays that they had 9 rushing yards for 60%. Colorado can absolutely run the ball. They need to do so. Or else there will be no chance to have a continued success on the season. When successful plays when running the ball, Colorado had 9 of them for 60%. Like I said, 60% is a big number when we're talking about this. That is big. I don't care. It only goes up to 100%. That is big in a game. Now, they definitely could run the ball. They just choose not to do that. Now, when passing, they had 16 passing plays, 35%. The pass was not working. If you know a team has a dominant defensive line, why would you not want to run at them? I know it did not look pretty at times. I know you're only getting 2 yards per carry, whatever that you may think that you're getting, but it's working. It's effective. It's effective. Keep doing it. And yes, when you do run at a player, you don't want to run away from the good player because he's going to collapse the backside. You want to run at the player because the best player on the defensive line, because you'll always have either a cutback lane and that wears that player out. The run coming at him, he's going to want to fight around blocks. He has to work extra hard, gets tired, gets fatigued faster. You want to run the ball at him. Nobody runs away from these good defensive linemen in the NFL. So why would anybody get on the internet or have a show that people listen to and sit there and tell you that you want to run away from a good defensive lineman? No, you run right to him. That's the only way you're going to get him more fatigued faster. Fighting around the block, fighting through the block, trying to get to the running back. The running back, running into his chest. They only can take that so much a game before they start getting fatigued. All right. It is what it is. That's just how it goes. That's what it is. Now, when rushing the ball, Nebraska had 12 of them, 12 times for successful plays. That was at 33%. They eight successful plays. DP had 0, 27% during this game. Now, it was always there for Colorado. Like I said, I don't know why they were giving up on early downs. Early downs, they were not running the ball on early downs. They were not running the ball enough on early downs. It was low, 23%, 10 times. They should have did that a lot more. They were passing the ball 34 of those times that he had 77% of their offense on an early down. They were passing the ball. Nebraska's is more balanced on early downs, 22 passes, 30 rushings, 58% rushing the ball, 42% of passing the ball. So they knew Nebraska was running the ball, is why they put so many guys and people in the box to stop the run. It was just not good to have 75% of your offense be passing. It wasn't even 70-30 for Colorado. It was 75-25% to the running. Nebraska's passing to rushing percentage was 45 passing, 55% running. They ran the ball, and Colorado knew they were going to run the ball. They knew that. That's why they were able to lock down on that, and they were able to key in on that and put 9 in a box to stop the run. But that did not stop Nebraska from trying to run the ball. It kept the defense on their toes. It kept them honest, and that's what you're supposed to do with the run. Regardless, it may not look pretty all the time. No, you're not going to pat a stat pad all the time. You're not going to get all the stats, and they're not going to get all the glory for that. But you need to keep continuing on doing those things throughout the game. I mean, hell, I just got finished talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers game, and when we had 133 passing yards and we went over what a buck something. I just read it off to y'all. I literally just read it, and I'll pull it back up just so I have the correct number. 137 rushing yards in the game, 270 total yards in the NFL game. We wind up winning the game 18-10. It does not matter. It may not look pretty. It may not be all the glitz and the glamour, good for your social media or whatever else, but you're able to get the job done and keep the defense honest. If you're able to keep the defense honest with this Colorado offense and to help out that offensive line just a little bit, just 65-35 at least. That's going to help out Shedeur tremendously. It's going to give him a couple of extra seconds. There was a couple of plays on defense when they started putting in their backup defensive lineman for what I do not know why they would do that in the game. But maybe they were just like, we just need to give our big guys a rest. If they start coming back or looking like something, we'll put our starters out there. But maybe they were trying to save their starters from injury, which was smart because they did have a big lead in that game. And they wind up winning it by 18, and that was smart of Matt Rule to do so. In that predicament. Now, the coaching obviously has to be done, but like 75% passing and 25% running, that is like, no, that's not a winning recipe at all. At all. Just sorry to say that, man. And obviously, Colorado has a lot to work on. There's not a lot that looks different from last year with Colorado at the moment. They have Colorado State at home. I mean, they're going up to Colorado State to play up there against those guys, which is another heated rivalry, and it's even more heated from the things that their head coach said about Coach Prime and his family, and they're gonna have the work cut out for them up there. This is gonna be probably another battle game. And I know they played Texas at the beginning of the season, and a lot of people said, well, you know, they're gonna blow Colorado State out, and I want them to beat Colorado State. I just do, because I don't agree with um when you're talking about somebody's parents, redoing, you bringing my mom into this, taking shots at my mom, taking shots at my kid, my family. Let's keep it football. If you got a problem with me, keep it on me. Don't go talking about my kid and what he may do in this football game. Don't get talking about my wife. You got a problem with Truck and Chubby, you take it up with me. You feel me? Let's not go about family. So I definitely want them to beat Colorado State University, but the way they're looking right now, and from what I've seen against one of the best teams in the nation and what they were able to do to Michigan, damn near the same thing they did with Colorado State University. Now, and that's a Michigan team. So I don't think that you can look at Colorado State University and say that Colorado is just going to go up there and roll over them. But I'll definitely be talking more about this. And when I'm talking about the matchup later this week. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Most definitely. I'll probably be talking that with the Raw Half Film. We'll probably have an open panel on that show, but it's definitely going down. Colorado at Colorado State is going to be another showdown to watch. Going to be a good game. Remember, Shedeur Sanders may not be returning for this game with a broken forearm or whatever's going on with the forearm. I noticed that he was in the yellow jersey damn near all summer. And we know that he did not get this shoulder surgery that he probably needed to get leading with his forearm and that shoulder when he's hitting people instead of just wrapping up, going for the big hit. And there was ongoing problems anyway, but so he probably has to get that surgery and get that tended to now, on top of another nagging injury that he may have sustained during the Nebraska game. But missing Shiloh, he had a pick six against Colorado State last year when they beat Colorado State last year. So that was huge. That was a touchdown that was accounted for in that game where which they wound up winning in overtime. Kamara now is gone. That put so much pressure on Shedeur, but it looks like they have some other guys there to step up and fill those roles. And they still had Horton and those receivers up there that gave Colorado huge problems. Will they be able to recover and battle it out with CSU? I believe that they will be all right versus that team, but I'm not sure when it comes down to Colorado playing in the Big 12. Will they be okay and have a successful season in the Big 12? So with that being said, I know I'm spending a lot of time on Colorado here because there's a lot to talk about with Colorado, because I mean, they give you so much to talk about, and it's just been an ongoing thing with Colorado, man. It just has been, and it's just been an ongoing thing with Colorado. And the people are saying we're seeing the same things as last year. Well, I want to take a quick look at their schedule before I move on to the next team that I'm going to talk about. So we'll take a look at Colorado's schedule real quick here as I get it pulled up, and then we'll walk through it a little bit. I mean, we've done this plenty of times, but today we're going to go take a quick look at it, and we're going to just talk about some of these games really quick as possible. So they beat North Dakota State barely by 5 points. They showed some things in that game to what myself and a lot of family content creators that's in the circle of mine, we all talked about it. And the expose that they got in that game, Nebraska was able to watch that film and do some of the same things that North Dakota State was. And Nebraska game was a test to see their toughness and where they're going to be able to hold up in the Big 12 to me. Now, you've seen Kansas State come back on a tough Tulane team. Tulane is a very tough G5 program over there, a group of 5 program over there in the American Athletic Conference. They are a force to be reckoned with over there. Last year, Tulane had one of the best rushing defenses in the group of 5, if not the best. But Virginia Tech was able to expose that in the bowl game. Anyhow, I know I'm getting a little off here, but they're at Colorado State. That's going to be a tough game on CBS, another one of those nationally televised games, and they're going to give them everything they ask for. They're going to test every single thing. They were able to watch the couple of games they had last year. And one thing about that coaching staff up there at Colorado State, even though I want Colorado to win this game, for multiple reasons, but they were able to look at the film and they were able to attack Colorado's weaknesses. So that coaching staff up there prepares those guys well on what they need to do and how to do it. Now, mind you, they will be missing one of their hole pluggers and one of their best defensive linemen in Chidozie Nwankwo, the block bully. They will be missing him, and also they will be missing Shiloh Sanders. So that's two guys down. In that game. I like the way that Cameron Solomon Craig is stepping up and showing that he can lead on that defense. But will they rely on him, or will they go ahead and switch that up? Who would they put on that defensive line to actually fill for Chidozie? You know, on that defensive line side, will Colorado State be able to do the same thing that they did last year? We don't know, but I'm counting on them to go ahead and get past Colorado State anyhow. Now, when it comes to Baylor had a decent showing against Utah, even though Utah went ahead and they beat them 23-12. They were able to score 12 points on a very good Utah team, in which a lot of people are already picking Utah to go ahead and win the Big 12. And Baylor was able to show up after they had made some mistakes off to a slow start, but they were able to hold Utah to not scoring in the second half. And this is a Baylor team and a Baylor defense where I've been trying to tell y'all for a long time that they have a lot of 6th and 7th year seniors. That is an older team. We've seen what happens when you have a lower program team, as we want to call it, or a group of 5 team in Northern Illinois, and they have a team full of seniors, 5th year seniors, 6-year guys that went and beat a Notre Dame top 10 team. We just seen that done. And Baylor has a team that is full of older, more mature guys that's been around. They've seen a lot of offenses. They've seen gives. They know tendencies. They know what to look for in somebody's eyes. And there's giveaways to everybody. They know all the ins and outs on the field, the little things that you need to know that may help you on a football field. Baylor has guys that know what to do with that. And they have I believe he's a 7th year senior on the offensive line. That team has been with Dave Aranda, and they'll get it turned around. I think they'll start getting it turned around, but that's going to be a very, very tough game. Good thing they're playing that game at home in Folsom, but then they got to go to you at UCF and face Gus Malzahn and those nights, and not and at the bounce house, and that game is going to go crazy 2 days before my birthday. That game is going to be another one of those slugfest type of games. Can they hold up? They already, lost a couple guys with Nebraska. UCF is going to test that with the running game. Baylor has a quarterback that will give them problems running, but will they be able to hold up? They got a quarterback that can run. KJ Jefferson, he could throw a couple passes, maybe need to work on some of that things. But Penny Boone, RJ Harvey, 1,700 total yard rusher. Penny Boone rushed for over 1,000 in the MAC. Over there at Toledo, big guy, bruising type running back. They're going to run, big physical team, and that defense is hitting and sticking. So Colorado's going to have to put up with them. That's another tough game. They got a tough road ahead of them. Like I said, Kansas State came back on Tulane. Dylan Edwards. We seen Dylan Edwards taken to the house on whether it was the new team they have now. Before he left, he was able to take it to the house. At practice last year with this team, Dylan Edwards is the Colorado killer. He is so fast. Nobody on that team could probably catch him as fast as Jimmy Horn Jr. And Jimmy Horn can't play defense. So unfortunately, Dylan Edwards will probably be a secret weapon when it comes to them playing Kansas State. Good thing they're playing them at Folsom Field. That may help them out a little bit there. But then they got to face this Arizona Wildcats team where I don't know why people think that Arizona is just going to fall completely off the reservoir under Brent Brennan. I don't know why I think that's going to happen at all, because they have arguably the best receiver in the country in T-Mac. T-Mac is going to show up week in, week out. And Noah Favita being an excellent quarterback, that running back they got there seemed like he ain't missing the step. They'll probably be able to step up. And that's another tough game. Cincinnati was they had a league against Pittsburgh, but I believe that they got a nice running game out of Cincinnati, a very good running back. And that will show them problems. Good thing they're playing a Cincinnati team at Folsom Field, but it will be later in the year in Cincinnati's offense, and they will be able to gel together, and they'll be a little bit more battle tested. So even though it's Cincinnati Bearcats, that still will probably be a tough game at Folsom for them to get there. Texas Tech may not be looking good. A lot of people saying they play Washington State. Washington State, they're not as horrible as what people think they are. You know, Texas Tech is still as good as they are. They did this last year. They got off to a slow start. They're one of these teams who got to get jump started. They'll figure it out. Their quarterback, they got there. He just got there. They'll probably figure it out, take a couple of L's. I don't think anybody had Texas Tech winning the Big 12, but they are a team in the Big 12 who, if you sleep on a very tough team that you will lose against, they didn't have Utah Utes. We know what Utah Utes can do. I'm finally recognizing what Cam Rising is and what Cam Rising is able to provide for that team and the weapons they have around him. How physical Utah is, they will out physically. That's a good game, and that's up at Folsom. That's up at Folsom Field. They got the defense. They have everything to neutralize Colorado. And so doesn't Texas Tech, though. So doesn't Kansas. And so doesn't Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is different. They are different. Do you hear me? They're different. And that's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. They have a tough road ahead of them. It is going to be very hard for Colorado to get 6 wins, to get 5 more wins out of the remaining schedule that they have to make a bowl game. It's going to be tough. They're going to be battle tested. I'm not saying their season's over, but they are going through the gauntlet now. The gauntlet is started. It has started already. All right. Especially that after showing what they showed last game. So moving on, man. Thank y'all. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump up into this Penn State game. Penn State.